last 4 years, I've spent millions of dollars on Meta and Google ads generating leads for my business and other businesses, a big portion of which was in the roofing industry. Along the way, I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars making common mistakes. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you the top 5 lead gen mistakes that are killing your roofing business. The first and most common lead gen mistake I see roofers make is having no offer or having a bad offer. And what I mean by this is when you're running some sort of ad, whether that be Meta or Google, you need to have an offer on it, right? So I see some businesses have an offer that just says like, best roofing in Texas or something. Right? Like that's not a good offer. That is an awful offer. You want to give the homeowners a reason to click on your ad and put in their information, right? Like they want to think that they're getting some sort of good deal. If you're not offering a good deal, they don't give a shit. They're not going to click on your ad. They're not going to put in their information, right? So a good example of this is if I were to run an ad to you, right? And I would just say, book a call with me. Like the ad just says literally just book a call with me, or we do the best marketing in the roofing industry, book a call. I guarantee you I'm not gonna get very many bookings and my booking cost is gonna be quite high, right? So an offer that you could run in this industry where they think they're getting a good deal would be like some sort of starting ad offer, right? That you could put a starting ad offer, so starting at $5,997, that's a good one, right? And it's a starting at, like most roofs won't sell for that and you have to make sure to set that expectation on the back end. But they're gonna be like, okay, like roofing quotes starting at $5,997. They're gonna be like, okay, that sounds like I'm gonna get a good deal, right? You're giving them the idea that they're gonna get a good deal. So another thing would be like save thousands on a roof or get 25% off. But usually this starting ad offer is the best thing that you could run. There's just a little downside to it is you're gonna have to know how to set that expectation that they're not going to get a roof for $5,000, right? Because that does happen. But if you set that expectation really well on your calls where you're booking these leads in and on your reminders and things like that, you're going to be crushing it, right? You're going to get really good lead costs, you're going to get really good booking costs, and you're going to get a lot of appointments, right? When you're crafting your offer for your ads, there's kind of 3 main boxes that you want to check. The first box that I like to check for is you want your offer to be valuable, right? You want there to be some sort of perceived value. The homeowner knows that they're going to get a good deal, right? Because that's all they're looking for at the end of the day is a good deal. They need a roof, they want a good deal on it. That doesn't mean you need to be the cheapest in the industry or anything, but you need to give them a good deal and you want them to believe that they're getting a good deal, right? So there needs to be perceived value on your ad. The next thing is clear, right? You don't want some crazy offer that has all these different guarantees and warranties and this and that. You want just something that's very clear and simple. So discount for X or starting at X, right? Get roofing quotes starting at X. Simple offer, very clear and easy to understand, right? And then the very last thing is you want to add urgency to your offer, right? And what I mean by that is, like you could say discounts or like $1,000 discount on a new roof ending at the end of the week or ending at X date or ending after fall or whatever it is. You want to add some sort of urgency to that offer so it entices them to click now and put in their information and get a quote ASAP. We've spent millions of dollars on roofing ads, avoiding these exact mistakes that I'm going over in this video. So if you're curious on how we can help your roofing business, we set up marketing systems for roofers, some of which generating thousands of appointments per month. So if you're interested, just click the top link in the description below. And that brings me to my second most common mistake that I see, which is overqualifying on your lead form or on your funnel, right? And the reason why most roofers do this is because they want the most best quality leads every single time. I want the most lay down referral level leads, right? And the reason why this is so bad is because yes, you are filtering out DQ leads, but you are also making it harder for qualified leads to come through, right? So overall, your qualified lead cost is gonna be higher, right? So you wanna look at it kind of as a funnel, right? And the funnel, you want it to kind of be like this, like a regular funnel, right? But most people, or most roofers, when they make this mistake, their funnel's kind of like this, right? Where they're filtering all the way at the top, adding unnecessary friction, and I'm gonna go over that part, and it's just filtering out qualified leads. They're just bouncing out. They're just like, okay, I'm not trying to fill out a 5-10 question form, and now your appointment cost is super high, your lead cost is super high, your cost per acquisition is super high, right? These might be higher quality leads, sure, but you're gonna get $100, $200 lead costs when you ask so many questions. So what I like to do is I like to make it as easy as humanly possible for people to come through, and I only add necessary friction, right? So what I mean by necessary friction is you're not asking them on a lead form, you know, what's the reason why you want a new roof? right? Like that's not really necessary friction because they're clicking on the ad because they want a new roof. You don't need to know the reason in order to sell them or book the appointment, and you could find that out over the phone, right? So that lead's still qualified regardless of they fill out that question or not. But if you need some sort of requirement, right? Like if you do insurance only, then yes, add an insurance question. If you maybe only do a certain roof type, like maybe you only do metal, then ask a metal question, right? If you do it all, probably ask no questions, maybe one for a little bit higher quality leads. What we do is we have usually one question, which is just what's the best number, or I'm just gonna put best number. We just put best number to contact, right? Best number. The reason we do this is because the booking rate is significantly higher when we ask them to manually fill out their number, because now we're not getting bad numbers. We're having them actually take time out of their day to fill out the form instead of just kind of having the autofills on Facebook and then they forget about it, right? So they're clicking on the form, they're filling out their best number, and they're also acknowledging the fact that they're going to be contacted, right? Because we say, what's the best number to contact you? So it does three things, which heavily improves booking rate because we're not running into bad number issues, which we see quite often, or running into people that just completely forget about the form, which we also see quite often. Those are kind of the two biggest DQs that we see, more than credit when we don't even ask for credit on the form, but usually they have qualified credit when we get on the phone with them. A lot of people are over 650. So if your targeting's right, you're gonna be targeting people that are usually over 600, 650, whatever your requirement is, and you'll be good there. So that's kind of the second biggest mistake, is overqualifying on the form. And that brings me to my third mistake, which is not testing or not having enough ads that you are running. And the reason why this is a mistake, if you've heard the saying, don't have your eggs all in one basket. A lot of people kind of take this on, oh, I need to run Facebook, Google ads, I need to have flyers, I need to have this and that. It's honestly better to just focus all in on one, and you'll have more stable marketing, because if you're focused on multiple things, then they're all gonna be kind of lacking, right? So you just focus on one, but there is a way that you could have it not have. There's a way that you could set up your campaigns to where you don't have all your eggs in one basket. And the way you do this is by having different angles. And what that means, what a different angle means, is it's a different marketing angle, right? So maybe a different offer, like I'm doing a save thousands offer versus a starting at 5,997 or 6,997 offer. Like those would be different angles. Another angle would be like I do more of a TikTok style ad on Facebook, or I do a picture ad, right? Like those are different angles. I do some sort of AI creative versus just like a video of me, right? There's so many different angles, so many different ways that you could go about your ads. So it's important to find multiple, right? Because you want multiple so you could easily scale up these ads and they could be more consistent, because maybe one week this offer's hitting really well, but the other offer's not hitting very well. That's just how ads are, that's just how business is, right? Sometimes certain things go well, sometimes certain things don't. So if you have multiple different angles, then you're more likely to have consistent ads that you could also easily scale, because if you scale all your budget into one ad, then that ad's gonna fatigue really quickly, that offer's gonna fatigue really quickly, and what fatiguing means is it just like, it's shown to people so many times to where they're like sick of it basically, right? And they're not gonna convert anymore. And it's more scalable, right? Because you could just, instead of going 600 into one ad and then you have that fatigue issue, you could go 200 into 3 different angles. And that's what we do with our clients as well. As we start with 3 angles, we also have multiple different backup angles as well, where we're running TikTok style ads, AI ads, picture ads, right? So that's very important. And you want to follow the 80-20 rule, which 80% needs to be working angles. So you're just making more ads every week or every month, or it depends on your budget really, but you want to be making more ads that are in that 80%. Like 80% of your creatives should be winning angles that have proven history of testing, right? And that 20% should be fresh angles, right? Brand new angles that you're trying out, you're just trying to see if it could work. Kind of like a half court shot or like a Hail Mary almost, but if it hits, then you have a new angle that you could scale into. So it's super important that you're always looking for new angles as well. So that's kind of the third biggest mistake I see. And now that leads me to my fourth biggest mistake, which is kind of a little bit of 2 mistakes in one, but it's overcomplicating your campaign setup, like your targeting and stuff, and also kind of being emotional, right? So what I mean by this is a lot of people, they're trying to like, you know, type in the most crazy targeting or adjust their age settings or their gender settings or do this and do that. Usually Facebook and Google, they're pretty dang good at targeting, and they're gonna be a lot better than you are at targeting because they have all that data collected from millions of users using their app every single day, right? So you don't wanna overcomplicate it. You could do little interest targeting, right? Where it's just like homeowner stuff or people interested in like reconstruction and like roofing stuff, or just completely open, which we do. We just do completely open, and it works very, very well. A lot better than interest most of the time, but some interests do crush it. If you do get an interest to work, it'll work a little bit better than open usually. But open, usually you could just do open and you'll be fine. So it's honestly better to overcomplicate it, not overcomplicate it and not overthink, and just do open and just run with that and focus on the controllables. Focus on your creatives, focus on your offer, focus on your landing page or your lead form, focus on your lead follow-up. If you focus on those things rather than the things that are kind of more out of your control, which is the targeting, then you're gonna be very, very, very good. You're gonna be very successful. And that's kind of brings me to my next point, which is being emotional, right? A lot of people, they make big mistakes. They'll see one day, it's like, oh man, my lead cost is $150 today. And then the next day it's $15, right? Which it averages out to be good. Or maybe 3 days it'll be bad and 3 days it'll be good, right? And if you get emotional and you shut off those ads, you're probably not gonna have much performance. Also, if you're scaling ads and you see lead costs go up a little bit, that's normal, that's fine. As long as your CPA and your profit numbers make sense, you're fine, right? Like it's fine to scale those ads up. You're getting more jobs, you're getting more revenue overall, right? So don't be emotional, don't react emotionally. You need to be logical, right? It's like, okay, this ad has been doing good, I should probably shut it off. And it's been 4 days, it's spent this much budget, the lead cost is this doesn't look good, the lead cost used to be this, right? Like making logical decisions rather than being emotional. It's like day trading kind of. Like day trading, a big part of it's like your mindset. So that's kind of just my fourth mistake. And that brings me to my final lead gen mistake that roofers make. And that is your follow-up process, right? Generating the lead, that's just step one, right? Now, step two, right? Which is the follow-up process and the converting the lead into an appointment, right? So the most important things there are your calling and your text and your emails, right? If you're not doing each of these things or not doing at least two of these things, you're missing out on having a better booking cost, right? And the most important thing is calling, right? You need to be dialing these guys 4 times per day, and you need to dial them as soon as they come in. Our speed to lead at our company is under 60 seconds, right? It is not that hard to get that. You just have a Slack notification go out or a text notification go out, and then you have dedicated people calling leads on time. That's their entire job, right? And if they're not doing that, then you get on their ass about it, right? So calling and calling quick and also doing follow-up is probably the biggest thing there. If you just have that piece in place, you'll probably have a 25% booking rate, right? Depending on your friction and stuff. It could even be more, right? And then next is your text. Are you sending personalized text to these leads? Are you sending blue text to these leads? Are you texting them often? Are you texting them quickly? If you're not, you're leaving booking costs on the table, right? You're gonna have a higher booking cost not doing these things. Same with email. Email is kind of the thing that you don't really need, but it does help, especially for like appointment reminders. It really does help. So emails, right? And that's just booking the appointment. It's just step two. It's just step 2 into closing the deal. You still have the inspection. You still have to get their contract signed. You still have to install the new roof on their house, right? So yeah, you need to have step 2 as well. I see a lot of roofers that just don't have any sort of follow-up process, or they're calling leads. They're at the end of the day, or they're calling leads a couple hours later. You're not going to be successful with ads like that. You just won't, straight up. So that's kind of the last thing. And those are my top 5 mistakes that I see roofers make when they're trying to do their lead generation. And if you were to just avoid these 5 mistakes, you're probably gonna have a really dang successful roofing ad campaign. And if you just want us to do it all for you, click that top link in the description to book a call to talk to us. And also stay tuned for future videos. We're giving all of our ad campaign setup, lead nurturing processes away for completely free. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.